Hello, Evolutionary Astrologer, Bryan Colter here for your horoscope report for the upcoming Gemini full moon that happens on November 30th. And really, I'll be describing the energy of the next couple weeks or so. And today, the day I'm recording this, is Thanksgiving. So for those of you out there that celebrate this holiday, happy Thanksgiving. And one of the things I'm thankful for is not only this beautiful audience here, but also this upcoming full moon, because it's a beauty. It's lively. It's energetic. And I say that because Gemini is a very energetic sign. And implicit in a full moon is that the moon is opposite the sun. The sun is therefore in the sign of Sagittarius, a fire sign, Gemini an air sign. Air and fire get along well for obvious reasons. So there's this lively, energetic, dynamic, kinetic sort of energy we're experiencing now. And this can bring us in our minds, especially because Gemini is an air sign, in a lot of different directions. You know, I love people who are Geminis because they have a quality of character about them that is curiosity. And there's a restlessness in them to follow these threads of curiosity wherever they take them. Of course, that can get them into trouble, just like any sign. It can lead to sort of a dispersal of energy or chasing their own tails or spinning too many plates and stuff like this. So it's important to keep our eye on the shadow of it. But all in all, it's a beautiful sign. It's a sign that's hungry to learn. And so is Sagittarius, by the way. These are opposite signs, but they're opposite sides of the same coin. They share the same evolutionary intention, and ultimately, it's to learn. So it's a time of learning. And it's always important to pay close attention to where the full moon lies in your birth chart. It's always going through some area of your chart. And if you can learn how to look up your chart and understand the symbols a little bit, and you say, oh, okay, there's the moon, it'll teach you about an area of your life described in astrology as that one of the houses of the chart, an area of your life where it's really conducive for you to apply that restless curiosity in that arena or area of your life. Some of the houses are more external, out there in the world. Some of the houses are more internal. It's like, where can you follow those threads of curiosities in specific directions into your life to have an expansion of awareness, an expansion of learning of what you knew, and ultimately how you perceive reality, especially in that arena. And the sign of Gemini it's the sign of communication. So this is a lot of energy around communication, exchange of information and stuff. But really at the core of the Gemini sign, it's about perception. It's the sign of perception. So the evolutionary intention of working with Gemini, which, by the way, we all are in a big way, not just because the moon is in Gemini, but because what the nodes of the moon, which is a feature of evolutionary astrology which makes it quite unique, is the way we look at the nodes of the moon is karma. So in your own personal chart, it will look at your own individual karma, past life stuff, as well as your karmic medicine, so to speak, energy that you want to tap into to heal from the past life experience, the wounding from that. That's a more personal level. On a more global level, the collective karma. By understanding the nodes of the moon, we can figure out what we're learning now, spiritually, as a whole, I guess you could say. And the nodes of the moon are in that same axis, Sagittarius and Gemini. The south node of the moon, known as the dragon's tail, is in the sign of Sagittarius, north node in Gemini. So we want to look a little bit more suspiciously at Sagittarius in this case, emphasize the dark side potentials of Sagittarius, which are really emphasized now within the collective, okay? And then strive for the high-end potential of the north node, the karmic medicine, the high-end potential of Gemini, to find a balance point between Sag and Gemini. And we're doing that as a whole. And, in terms of everybody on Earth to a certain degree, for really the next 8 or 9 months, as long as, Gemini's in the north node, okay? So we're all attempting to perceive reality more clearly, striving for Gemini, being very aware of the dark side of Sagittarius, which is at crazy levels now, really emphasized. Dark side of Sag is preachiness, is religion, is sets of belief systems that are close-minded. People who believe they know the one truth. And this can manifest in so many different ways, even politically, or social orientation, or, yes, about God, but just, or non-God, maybe atheist is dogma too, okay? So the dark side of Sagittarius is really popping now, really over the span of, far into 2021. We've been in this for quite some time, I think about 6 or 7 months. So getting away from that, the world is drunk on anger, fixed sets of ideas, ideologies. People are fervent. It's a fire sign. There's a heat. There's a passion about what they believe to be true. So the antidote is like, whatever I believe to reality to be, it's probably not what I think it is. I embrace my curiosity. I embrace learning. I want to be more malleable in terms of how I see reality and realize that me as this human, this flawed individual, we can't possibly know what's really going on, what is really going on. Also recognizing it sure is fun to think about what's really going on. Okay, and that's important too, but to not get fixated, to get hung up on it, which people are more than usual with the South Node traveling through Sagittarius. And this axis is coming into light as the full moon reflects the light of the sun in the same symbols, the same signs. And it's also important to take into consideration any planets in aspect to the nodal axis as well, which there's one. Neptune is in Pisces in a direct square to the nodes. And Pisces, just like every symbol, has an extreme high end and an extreme low end. One of the low ends of Neptune is addiction. So people getting addicted to what they believe as truth, as one side is pitted against the other through this illusion of separateness, through polarity consciousness. As they fight each other, one set of ideas fights the other, they become addicted to that, attached to that. That's one. Hence the square. Square is a hard angle. It applies more friction to the nodes of the moon through the meaning of Neptune. And another one with Neptune is deceit. So people even lying more often than usual to uphold their belief systems. Now, obviously not everybody. Some illustrate this more than others. We're generalizing amongst, the sea of people where we're seeing more of this than usual. So a lot of deceit in the mix. And here we are trying to get through this murky arena of dishonesty and misinformation so that we can perceive reality more clearly. It's pretty tough. So how do we work with that? Well, what's the high end of Neptune? High end of Neptune is pretty lofty stuff, It's cosmic consciousness. It is God consciousness. It's really the process of spiritual evolution. And as humanity as a whole, since Neptune is traveling through its own sign of Pisces, has been since 2012, I think it'll stay in Pisces till like 2026, if I'm not mistaken. This period of time, we're being called to raise our level of consciousness to a much higher level so we can manifest a better reality for ourselves. So the best way to tap into Neptune energy is through spirituality, through prayer, through connection to God, through developing emotions that vibrate at a very high frequency, like compassion and love, unconditional love, especially with Neptune. Meditation, is one of the most powerful ways of doing that. And of course, if you want to get your Neptune on, I'll be doing a meditation at the end of this video. I invite you to join in. And by doing meditation, not only do we raise our consciousness, grow closer to God, so to speak, have more clarity around the frequency of our soul and more easily express that out into reality, but we can tap into our inner truth and more easily distinguish truth from falsehood. So that's how the Neptune square supports the nodes, supports the North Node in Gemini. A daily meditation practice or quiet time or time you carve out some time in each of your days to go into a place of contemplation, basically. So you can sort out what's really true for you, because truth and falsehood has a vibration, it has an energy, and if you can develop a level of psychic sensitivity, let's say, which Neptune is also connected with, you'll be able to tell the difference between the two and find the truth within yourself. And of course, the more you do that, the more you perceive reality more clearly, because you're looking at reality through a lens that's connected to the divine, if that makes sense. So circling back to Gemini now, this mental sign, an air sign. So mental stimulation, incredible levels of focus, a certain fascination there, anticipation for what's next. It's also the sign of hyperactivity. So there's a laser sharp focus now. We're intent on knowing the truth. We're intent on knowing what's about to unfold and looking, it reminds me of always with Gemini and the family of archetypes like this, like Mercury as well, which I'll get to Mercury in a second. It reminds me of driving down the freeway in very heavy traffic, bumper to bumper. You're late for a critical appointment and you're speeding, and you're just darting in between the traffic, in this sense of you can't take your eyes off the road. That's the energy we're feeling now. And to give us some even more insight on what this is like with the Gemini moon, we always want to take into consideration the planet that rules Gemini. So give us some more clues. And that's Mercury. Mercury is in Scorpio. And give us some more clues is kind of a good segue, because Scorpio is the sign of investigation. It's the sign of looking beneath the surface, looking for those clues. Scorpio is deep and psychological. It's like, what's really going on here? It has suspicious instincts. And sometimes it's good to have a little bit of suspicious instincts. Of course, that can get us into trouble, especially if we get obsessed with it. We always want to avoid, the extremes of these symbols. So I mentioned it's a sign of psychology. It's like, can you imagine a good psychologist on the planet who didn't have suspicious instincts? It's like there they are sitting with their client, the first session with a new client. And they say, tell me about your family of origin, And the client says, oh, they're fine. We don't need to talk about them. There's not a good psychologist on the planet that would take that at face value. It's like, what's really going on here? Maybe nothing, but it's good to think that way sometimes. So the suspicious instincts really emphasize now as we try to perceive reality more clearly. We try to find those grains of truth amidst the chaos of people being so fervent about their ideas, so much so that they're willing to be dishonest in some cases. So, wow, how do we figure that out? Well, of course, I defer to Neptune again. The truth is within. But it is healthy to follow this energy where it leads us, so that we can try to separate the truth from the falsehood and become more in alignment with the truth. So Mercury, the planet of communication, of information, of data, of the mind, of our cognitive abilities, very cerebral. It represents cerebral energy. In the sign of the truth finder, is in this beautiful supportive aspect to three heavy hitters in the sky right now. Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn. They're all aligned in the sky. And you can't see Pluto, but you can certainly see Jupiter, Saturn. And if you watch closely in the sky, you'll see them up there. It's quite beautiful. In fact, my wife and I the other day saw them almost perfectly lined up with the moon, creating a perfect, near perfect triangle in the sky. And it was just like, oh, it was so beautiful. So Mercury in a sextile to these three planets, supporting through the energy of the sextile the meaning of these planets. And these three planets don't come together very often. Okay, the last time they were together in Capricorn was like in the late 1200s. Okay, wow, long time ago. Okay, and they represent, broadly speaking, a massive transformation occurring, really, with humanity. And in Capricorn specifically, how it applies to this year is really the acceleration of the crumbling of old systems of control, the old paradigms of control, making way for the new version of humanity, so to speak, within this new Aquarian age, which we entered, I believe about a century ago. Okay. This 2100 year cycle, we're now in it, I believe, fully. And this is where the crumbling of the old, the disintegration of the old structures of control really start to accelerate, because Jupiter has this expansive quality in anything it touches. And then Pluto is the planet of extremity and transformation and transmutation and death and rebirth sequence. And then Saturn is the laws of this dense dimension of reality, the third dimension. And Capricorn is about all kinds of things. But in this case, the dark side of the patriarchy, the control mechanisms, dark forms of ambition. So all the egoic structures, of basically humanity that have created this control mechanism is starting to fall apart. And it may not seem that way, It's easy to feel pretty hopeless nowadays. But I believe in a better future, and it's crumbling now. Ancient cultures from around the world, like 30 plus of them, have all been pointing to this time now as the so-called Golden Age. They don't describe it as the Dark Ages, where we devolve into this technocracy of AI-controlled humanity, that would be like the extreme dark side potential of the Aquarian age. No, they don't point to that. They point to the Golden Age. They point to the Golden Age that is much more about humanitarianism, working together in a more evolved way. Through Aquarius, the explosion of technology, this involves medicine, free energy devices, space travel, stuff like this, as we work together. But the old has to leave to make way for the new. And that's starting to break away now. That's the broad interpretation, in my opinion, of these three planets involved here. And the finding of truth in a very supportive aspect to this transitional phase that we're in. Now, working with Saturn, the greater malefic, big bad Saturn, and when it's in its own sign of Capricorn, okay, whenever a planet's in its own sign, it's really strong. Really working with Saturn in an evolved way. Yes, it feels a bit weighty and oppressive, but Saturn just wants us to grow up, wants us to mature. And usually a symptom of experiencing growth spurts is growing pains, and we're in those growing pains now. But what Saturn requires of us, and this is where we dive headfirst into evolutionary astrology, is it wants us to accomplish a great work. And of course, Jupiter, the planet of faith and belief, a great work around faith and belief. In terms of humanity, part of our great work is to believe in a better future, because that creates a magical spell that helps to bring that future about. Okay? So that's a big part of our great work. Now, on a more personal level, Jupiter, Saturn next to each other in the sky now, where they haven't been in 20 years. Wherever Jupiter, Saturn is in your own personal chart, describes a great work that you're meant to accomplish now that will require Jupiterian faith in your own abilities to do it. How am I underestimating myself? Where in my life am I settling for too little? I'm due for a victory. How can I engineer one? The more you find the answers to those questions, the more you'll find areas in your life where you can tap into more faith, because Jupiter wants you to bet big in that arena of your life. Bet big on yourself and put your efforts, your Geminian curiosity in that direction, the sign of learning, to accomplish that great work. So knowing where it is in your chart is very helpful. And I'm not going to go through all the houses here because I already did that in another video. So I did a video with Lada, I think almost a year ago, back in last November, where I talked about this upcoming Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that we're experiencing now. I'll be talking a lot about it over the next month. They're within 2 degrees of each other now, and they will form a perfect conjunction on December 21st, I think, right around the winter solstice. So we're in it now. So I invite you to check out that video so you can figure out, where it is in your chart based on your rising sign, and I talk about that in great detail. And I'll put a link to that video below in the show description. So it's important to grow up, to grow more mature, to develop a deeper level of self-discipline, maturation, and also an emboldened faith in your abilities. And the best method to do that is to focus on that great work, whatever that means for you. So circling it back to, how these planets are working with us as a whole. The great work of having more belief in a better future to help bring about that future. So what comes to mind, you just, tie in all these planets, the whole perception thing, everything. What comes to mind for me in terms of, and this is how we can transcend just the descriptive form of astrology into prescriptive. It's like, okay, this is the bad, this is the good, this is a good way to, good things in life to focus on, to accelerate our evolution as a person. But also we can come up with certain prescriptions or ideas to work with it as well. And what comes to mind is just be aware or careful on where you place your attention. Because we are powerful Jedi masters, Where we place our attention, energy goes, energy flows. And that includes our emotions, our thoughts, where we place our attention in our internal environment as well as external. So since perception is really up for us now, it's important that we sort of not guard, that's kind of a fear-based thing, a reactive thing, but just be careful or aware about what you subject your senses to, what you consume, and that can include food, of course. This is kind of common sense advice, but eating more high vibration food because we're being called to be a higher vibration now. It can be the music you listen to. Some music calibrates at a very low level of consciousness, depending on the performers, where they're coming from emotionally and with their thoughts. If they're putting a lot of negativity and unloading a lot of pain into their music, likewise, their music is going to calibrate at a very low level of consciousness. And it helps to stimulate those same emotions in other people, and in turn, bringing down their consciousness, And then, of course, conversely, there's music that's very uplifting, raises our consciousness to a higher level. And just that goes with everything, what you read, what you talk about, what you watch on TV or on YouTube, or the news that you listen to. News is a perfect example of dark side Sagittarius. Everybody spins the truth in their own way. Strengthening their own ideology. And there's a lot of falsehood in truth nowadays, a lot of lying too. So, and anyways, news by and large at its root is just a fear factory, which of course is a low level of consciousness. And what you watch on even astrology. There's some astrologers out there I've seen that it's just like, oh my God, this person is amazing. They're lifting people up. They're inspirational. They point to the dark side potential so that we can at least be aware of it and know what to avoid and have some compassion for some of this behavior in other people. But striving for the high end, there's some beautiful astrologers out there with great work. And then there's other astrologers, the doom and gloomers of the world, where I just go, oh my God, why are you talking? Sounds so awful. But, it's the more fortune-telling doom and gloomers out there. There's not a whole lot of them, but they're out there, okay? The information they're conveying is filtering through their own perception of reality, which in their case views reality as a very malevolent place. And thus, their predictions are a lot more negative and doom and gloomy, because that's how they perceive reality. So we want to have compassion for that, but also recognize that they have somewhat of a position of responsibility, as they're talking to audiences and whatnot, or even in their professional client work. Like if a astrologer predicts somebody's going to get cancer, that's an awful thing. Not only is it wrong a lot, way above random chance, it'll be right above random chance, but often it's wrong more than half the time. So not only is it unreliable objectively, far worse ethically unforgivable, because they've instilled fear into their client. Or if they're making some prediction on a YouTube video, it's like you read the comments below and they say, well, that was depressing, or it feeds into those fear structures or hopelessness or despair, and they're actually doing damage to people and strengthening damage within themselves. And it's just like, oh my God, So I'm not trying to make this a rant on astrology, although it's coming across that way, Again, across the board in your life, just be careful what you consume. Consume things that lift you up so that you can be that beacon of light, so that you can be that lighthouse, shining a light out on the choppy waters, the turbulent waters of the darker subset of emotions. And some people out there are very lost in those waters on their dinghy, a dinghy with a hole at the bottom, and it's going to capsize soon, So if we can cultivate more love and light, we can be that shining light, that shining presence, a positive influence in the world, and bring people in from the cold. Not trying to force that upon people, but just through expressing our light, some of them will come in from the cold. And that is holy, noble work. And those are the core evolutionary intentions, with the goal always being to expand our consciousness. Now, as usual, I'm going to transition into the meditation, and I recommend using headphones because I use a technology called binaural beats, which will help you to sink into a very deep meditative state so you can benefit fully from the guided meditation. Enjoy. Sit in a nice, comfortable position with a straight spine, and simply bring your awareness into your body, into your lungs, and just focus on your breath. Nice, slow breathing. As you inhale, feel your lungs expand. As you're breathing in oxygen, as well as etheric vitality into your body. Breath is one of the most important things to establish a healthy pattern. Deep, rhythmic breathing. And have an even count on the inhale, and match that with an even count on the exhale. And focus on your heartbeat now, and see if you can feel the beat of your heart, the pulse of life. And try to match your breath with your heartbeat. 4 beats of the heart per inhale, and 4 beats of the heart per exhale. And no pause between the in-breath and the out-breath. Rhythmic breathing. This fills your body with life force. Now concentrate on the soles of your feet, and then to your toes. Feel your feet. Feel like you're in your feet. Put all your awareness on both of your feet. And now move up to your ankles. And now from the ankles, spread your awareness through your calf muscles, and your knees. You're aware of your legs from the soles of your feet up to your knees. Continue breathing while you expand your concentration up through your thighs and up into the pelvis. And you feel your entire length of your legs and begin to see them glow in a snow-white light in and around your legs. As you inhale, you see the snow-white color grow brighter and brighter. Wish good health to your legs. Now continue spreading your awareness by moving up into the abdomen. Feel your solar plexus and see a small sky blue ball begin to take form. It grows brighter and brighter with each breath you take. It keeps growing and growing, growing brighter, and see it continue to grow until it reaches the size of a beach ball. It is transparent and extends all around your abdomen. Continue to maintain your concentration on the snow-white legs and the sky blue ball in your solar plexus. Now have your awareness encompass your chest cavity. In your chest, see a rosy light the size of a tennis ball, and watch it with curiosity as it expands and grows brighter and brighter with each breath, until your entire chest is radiating this lovely light. The blue light of your solar plexus and the rosy light of your chest overlap, but remain distinct spheres of light. You have full sensation from your chest all the way down to your toes. Continue breathing rhythmically, evenly, slowly. As you notice that your arms are glowing with the same white light as your legs. Pray that your arms be blessed, that they may be used to ease the pain of others and to wipe away the tears of your fellow man and woman. Now move up through your neck and into your head. Clear your thoughts and see a golden hue begin to surround your head, extending a foot outwards on all sides. You see this luminous golden halo. This golden aura meets with the rose light of your chest, but each color and each ball keeps its shape and hue. Now your entire body is radiating light. Your legs and arms shine with this great whiteness. Your abdomen and solar plexus are engulfed in a lovely sky blue ball. Your heart and chest are emanating a rose-colored globe, and your head is surrounded by a beautiful golden hue. You have a desire to share with others the harmony you are experiencing now. And send this energy out from you. See the blue ball expand to reach far beyond the area in which you stand or sit. See it bathe every living being with peace and contentment. Now bless your material body and ask that it always be clear. The rose light in your chest begins to grow in circumference to cover a huge area around you, many, many miles. Wish love to all as they are bathed in this light of love and peace. And wish peace in your emotional body and the emotional body of every other being. The range of the golden light as it spreads out from your head can't be measured. Perhaps it blankets the entire continent or even globe. See all who dwell within this golden halo to be in the peace of knowing and understanding. May your higher level of consciousness in the realms of thoughts and intentions be always blessed, and may it bless others as well. The 3 balls that were in your material body have now blossomed into 3 great suns. See each of those suns shine brightly in all directions. Slowly contract the suns. First the golden halo, next the rosy light, and finally the sky blue ball. Wish good health to all other beings and to yourself. Now bring your awareness back to your breath and the breath entering the lungs. And feel the etheric vitality fill your lungs and extend throughout your body. The oxygen is contained in your lungs, but the etheric vitality spreads throughout the body. Through your breathing, a light is kindled within you. With each in-breath, this interior light becomes more and more luminous. And as you exhale, see all the darkness from within leave you. The light continues to radiate, and your entire body is now glowing in a white light. And see the light continue to expand around you and grow brighter and brighter with each inhale, shining around you in all directions, lighting up the room within you sit. Continue to breathe in this white light, and you see it expand around you, around your body in the shape of an oval. A protective oval around you. And then see the oval begin to take the shape of an egg. This snow white egg surrounds you evenly on all sides. Continue to breathe in the white light. You are clean, healthy, protected, and energized. Wish good health to your body and your personality.